Saros is a blast to play, both figuratively and literally, and whether you're looking to find every weapon, master the punishing bullet hell, or just simply survive by any means necessary, we have you covered. Here are 13 essential tips you should know in order to survive the chaos that is Carcosa and take down enemies in Saros with ease. Very much like Returnal, Saros has a perfect reload mechanic for your weapons. Once your clip is empty, your weapon automatically begins to reload, and instead of waiting, you can press R3 or R2 to hit the perfect reload window and instantly refill ammo. We recommend getting used to pressing R3 to reload, so you never have to let go of R2, allowing you to really maximize your damage output and kill enemies as fast as you can. Failing to hit the perfect reload window will cause your weapon to jam for a second. So it's important to practice using this mechanic as early as possible. The key to a perfect reload is knowing when the reload is coming, so you don't have to react to it suddenly popping up. If you're using a shotgun, get in the habit of counting your shots. And if you're using an automatic rifle, get a feel of how long you need to hold down the button until you run out of bullets. Saros is a very fast gaming experience, and mastering the perfect reload will keep you matching its speed. Alt-fire is also a very important skill to learn early on. Every weapon you equip in Saros has an alt-fire with unique effects. To use alt-fire, hold L2 slightly so it's halfway down, and then press R2 to fire. It's important to know what each alt-fire does so you can know when the best opportunity to use it is. The alt-fire of the Horde shotgun, as an example, has an alt-fire that reorients its bullet spread to be more vertical, which makes it much more adept at hitting skinnier targets. Other alt-fires might concentrate several bullets into a single shot, making it better for single target damage. As the game data states, mastering a weapon's alt-fire is the key to utilizing it to its full potential. Bigger, more challenging hostiles won't know what hit them once you master this mechanic. This one is a bit obvious, but using cover in Saros is extremely important and can be the difference between life and death. Using cover can create space away from hostiles while also blocking their incoming bullets, preventing encounters from becoming overwhelming. You can also hide behind cover as you perform a perfect reload and gather yourself, to then use it as a way to peek and shoot back at hostiles. Cover is there for a reason, so you may as well use it. Another way to prevent enemy encounters from becoming too overwhelming is by paying attention to the minimap. It's very important to keep enemies in front of you, and the minimap can help you do precisely that. It will show where nearby enemies are and help you find an escape to avoid getting surrounded by them. The minimap also shows when an audio or text log is nearby, as well as health and weapons, and even survivors that can be found in the world. With the fast-paced action, it can be easy to run right past a valuable item, so be sure to check your minimap to not leave any stone unturned. The bullet hell in Saros is divided into 3 colors, and it's important to react to each one appropriately when given the opportunity, especially during boss fights. Blue projectiles are considered standard projectiles and can be dashed through or absorbed with the shield. This especially comes in handy during boss fights as they have patterns that routinely throw blue bullets, giving you the chance to protect yourself while absorbing power through your shield. Yellow projectiles will appear once you enter the Eclipse, a world condition that affects Carcosa with corruption. While you can shield against and absorb them once you unlock the shield amplifier node in the armor matrix skill tree, it will cause corruption to build up and diminish the max integrity of your armor, so in most cases, it's best to avoid them as much as possible. That said, they will still increase your power meter when absorbed, and there are certain corrupted weapons that increase their power the more corruption you take on. So you'll need to weigh the risk and reward on a per case basis. You'll definitely want to shield or dash through yellow beams though, whether from an enemy attack or when you need to go through yellow beams blocking a pathway. Lastly, we have red projectiles, known as nova projectiles, which cannot be shielded against or dodged through. Much later on, you do get the ability to parry them, but until then it's best to just dash away from them in the meantime. Note that executing the proper counter to each color isn't the end-all be-all. It's perfectly fine to jump or dash away from bullets regardless of their color. However, using your shield or parry can keep you aggressive and help the combat flow better, making the difficulty more manageable. Much like Returnal, adrenaline is a key component to making you stronger. Whenever you collect Lucenite or deal damage to enemies, it builds up adrenaline. There are 5 levels of adrenaline until you hit the max, with each level granting a unique bonus. Taking damage, however, will reset adrenaline back to 0, so it's even more incentive to not get hit. The longer you go without taking damage, the more powerful you'll be. As mentioned before, the Eclipse causes yellow projectiles to become corrupted, and because entering the Eclipse state is necessary to progress through each biome, they're impossible to miss. Coming into contact with corrupted projectiles either by getting hit or absorbing them with your shield will cause corruption to build up and reduce your max integrity. It won't kill you, but it will limit your max health, which can make enemy encounters more difficult. In order to cleanse this corruption, you'll have to fire your power weapon to get a portion of max health back. This can make enemy encounters even more interesting as you'll have to balance both surviving and building up your meter to use your power weapon. Collecting artifacts can make or break a good run, so it's important to know what you're picking up and if it's worth it. This is especially true when it comes to corrupted artifacts. These are artifacts that carry benefits, but also come with a cost, better known as corruption effects. These are negative effects that can alter your character, weapon, and abilities. For example, you may pick up a corrupted artifact that gives you +5 to command and power, but also comes with the corruption effect called misfire, where taking damage briefly jams your main weapon. No matter the artifact, it's important to weigh the pros and cons and then decide if the benefits are worth the risk. That said, there are ways to mitigate or even completely remove the negative effects of corrupted artifacts. For one, the detrimental effects are cleared once you defeat the area's boss. So, if you come across an artifact that has a really good perk but a really bad quirk as well, you might still consider taking it if you're close to the boss and have confidence in your build up until that point. Alternatively, there is a Carcosan modifier, more on these later, called Artifact Immunity, that you can add to the list of mods before a run, which will completely negate corruption effects on artifacts. You'll have to balance that with a detrimental mod, but in our experience, it's well worth doing. A weapon you're very comfortable with can potentially go a lot further than a higher level weapon you don't prefer or feel comfortable using. If you're anything like me and have a strong preference for a weapon such as the Smart Rifle, don't shy away from keeping it even when presented with higher level weapons. That is, of course, when it makes sense. Obviously, if you're holding a level 5 weapon and come across something twice or 3 times higher, you may want to consider switching to get the best results. With that said though, if your run is going really well, consider if the choice of comfort will put you in a better position for success. If it's a weapon you prefer for your playstyle and it's at a serviceable level, chances are you will play better and go further in the run. You may also want to consider the upcoming boss. If it's a boss that you're forced to fight from a far distance, you may not want to pick up a new shotgun, even if the level is higher. You should also make use of your Acolyte's Wager, which will let you re-roll a reward for something else, giving you a chance to get a higher level version of a weapon that you're comfortable with. Much like Returnal, Saros will end your run and send you back to the beginning hub when you die, but the difference here is you will now be sent back with currency in your pocket. As you play Saros, you will collect Lucenite, which raises your proficiency level and then acts as the game's currency. Between runs, you can invest Lucenite to unlock permanent upgrades on the Armor Matrix skill tree. This gives great incentive to collect as much Lucenite as possible so that you can invest it into the skill tree and essentially pay it forward to make the next runs easier. Note that if you die, there is a penalty in which your collected Lucenite will be halved by 50%. However, there are nodes on the skill tree that will reduce the percentage of Lucenite lost after death, so it's smart to unlock these when you can. Speaking of the skill tree, we recommend unlocking Second Chance as soon as possible so that you can instantly revive after being killed during a run. Unlike the Astronaut and Returnal where you find by chance and can only use it once, Second Chance is a permanent upgrade that will revive you and restore full integrity upon death. Note that Second Chance will revive you once during a run, and if you've used it, you'll have to complete a Nightmare Strand if you want to replenish it. These are areas with much more deadly and difficult hordes of enemies that you'll have to eliminate in order to survive the strand and thus get your Second Chance back. Halcyon is another resource that acts as currency, but it's even more valuable as it can be used to unlock rare and valuable armor mods in the Armor Matrix skill tree. Halcyon sometimes appears when opening red containers, in which you'll have to choose between it or an artifact. As always, you'll want to weigh the pros and cons and decide what you need at the moment, but we generally suggest picking up Halcyon if your run is already going well, as they are a permanent currency and are more valuable in the long run. As we just mentioned, Second Chance is an insanely useful ability and only one item will unlock it. You guessed it, Halcyon. It can be used to unlock further enhancements to Second Chance as well, such as reviving with more integrity. Not to mention other enhancements such as Ether dropping more frequently and being more effective, as well as helping your shield reduce incoming corruption. These enhancements can make an insane difference in whether or not you survive, so don't sleep on them. And finally, if all else fails and you are still having more trouble than you'd like, Saros provides further help by way of the aforementioned Carcosan modifiers. These are modifiers that unlock after defeating the second boss of the game, and this gives you the option to adjust difficulty to your liking, so long as you keep the modifier meter balanced. We recommend you select a trial that you feel won't impact you as much, so you can add protections that really help you out. For example, during a run when I wanted to get further than I had before and cared less about the progression of future runs, I added a protection mod that increased damage dealt to hostiles, as well as one that made my shield not consume power while active. Then I balanced it with a trial mod that reduced Lucenite retained upon returning to the home base. You can even adjust the level so that even more Lucenite is reduced, so you can add even more protections. As long as it's balanced, you're ready to lock in. And that's it! These are our essential tips to help you get started and stay alive in Saros. For more on Saros, check out our wiki over at IGN.com, and for everything else gaming, you're already in the right place. Stick with IGN.